Hi there, this is your video on going through a mathematics paper. Now, I do have a foundation paper in front of me, but I'd probably say everything that I'm going to talk about relates to both higher and foundation. So, first of all, is what all staff members will be talking to students about, is making sure that they attempt the question in order of the questions that they feel comfortable with. Okay, now typically on the OCR paper, we do have a first page, which is usually quite accessible to students. So here we've got lots of assessment objective 1 questions where it's just factual recall. So can you tell us what an even number is, a multiple of 7, etc. Here, the next question. Now this is the kind of one of the next bits of recall. Students need to know what the median is. So obviously the median is the middle number when the numbers are in order. The next one talks about the range being 15. Now, a bit of an exam tip here, which I'm sure you've got from your class teachers, but it says to make sure you've got a range of 15. So I think as long as you here put 2 numbers that have got a range of 15, you're guaranteeing yourself a mark. So it's just making sure that you at least do that bit, even if you don't get the correct number for the question. Okay, because notice there it's 2 marks, but you will get 1 for a correct range of 15. Measuring angles, again, an AO1 question where you use your protractor, and there's a little bit of tolerance here on your measuring, but try and be as accurate as possible. This one is an assessment objective 2, is asking you to explain why something is isosceles. Now, obviously, that's a little bit more difficult because it's an explanation question, but I'm hoping the students will recognise there that because they're both 27 degrees there, because it's got 2 angles the same, that makes it isosceles. Now, this question I'm looking at immediately, and I think students might look at that and think, oh, I'm not quite 100% sure on that. So personally, if I was in the exam, I'd scroll straight past it and I'd look to another question I know I feel definitely comfortable with, and then I'd come back to that question. Okay, so here we've got a sequences question, which I think students find really comfortable in answering this one. But again, in part B, they might think this one, actually, I'm not really sure how to answer this. So I, again, would advise you skip over and then come back to it at a later point. Because what you don't want to do is utilise all the 90 minutes on questions you're not sure about, and then you've missed the opportunity to answer questions you do know how to answer. Because here I'm very confident that question 5, all of our students will be able to answer, either using just inverse operations or using a function machine. 6, again, here is another one that our students enjoy answering, listing outcomes, but the fraction part might not be something you're comfortable with, so again, you might want to skip past that. The main reason I'm talking about skipping past questions is one thing we would hate is for you to get to the back page. So if I just scroll through very quickly on this particular paper, the last question was one of the easiest questions on the paper. So here, the last question was this one here, which was put these in order of size. And again, in your lessons, you will have been told to convert all these to decimals. It was a calculator paper. So you literally just type these things in your calculator. So the first one is obviously 0.2, so I just leave it as 0.2. 2 to the negative 2 comes out as a quarter, so 0.25. And then the other one comes out as 0.02. So again, here you've got 2 marks for making them all into what's called a comparable form. And then the third mark comes from you putting them in order of size. So you need to know which one's the smallest and which one's the biggest. Okay. Now just flicking back up, just another little exam tip, or a couple more. So one of them is this particular question here. So when a question asks you to round your answer, is because I'm a wizard, I know what this is off the top of my head. It is 46.337 44236. Now the question asked me to round the answer, and what a lot of our students typically have done in the past is they will write the rounded answer straight away. If you write this answer on your page, you guarantee yourself 2 marks. Okay, as long as you type this correctly in your calculator, you guarantee yourself 2 marks. You then get the 3rd mark for doing the rounding correctly. Okay, so just to confirm, the correct answer would be 46.34. But if you write anything on the answer line that isn't correct without showing any form of other working, so let's pretend you didn't write that down. Excuse me. Sorry. So let's pretend you wrote down 46.33 because you didn't round right. You're going to lose out on accuracy marks. You might get 1 as like a benefit of the doubt. You might even get 0 here. Okay? So it's important that you write down everything that's on your calculator. And then the other important tip, and probably the final one with regards to maths, is obviously attempt all questions, but just find out as much information as you can. We don't seem to have one on this paper, and it's probably going to be too difficult for me to change across papers while I'm recording the same video. But let's go back to the triangle question there. Let's say you've got a question like the following. So you've got a rectangle and then you've got a circle inside it, and they want you to find out the area or percentage of the shaded section here. Okay. Now, I'm very confident that all our students can work out the area of a rectangle. So let's say this had radius 3, and this was 10, and this was 20. I'm pretty confident that all our students would know to work out the area of the rectangle. So I'll put area rec is equal to 10 times 20. And then area of a circle, we should be getting this right because it's on our formula sheet. So area of a circle is pi times radius squared, so pi times 3 squared. Now that type of question is probably worth 3, 4, 5 marks maybe. And you've kind of guaranteed yourself at least 1, maybe 2 marks by just working out the area of the 2 shapes that you can see. Okay? So with the maths questions, it's all about making sure you at least do something. Okay? Leaving a question blank guarantees the examiner is going to give you no marks. Whereas if you write something down, you can potentially get yourself some marks, okay? By adding a few things, by timesing a few things, okay? And that's about it from a maths perspective. Good luck.